Every second, every minute, every hour, and every day, time doesn't just tick away. It's a countdown to political decisions that shape our world.
This country must move.
Imagine the impact these decisions have on our lives. Some are consequential.
Hello and thank you for joining us on the Thursday edition of Journalist Hangout. I am Benga Oreshegun. Today on the program, confusion over Yahaya Bello as media team counters EFCC with photo evidence, says former governor honored commission's invitation as anti-corruption body brands Bello a wanted person and lays siege to Kogi Governor's Lodge in Abuja. INEC, political party officials inspect sensitive materials for Edo governorship elections as CDS assures of peaceful polls, warns troublemakers. And later on the show, major marketers begin lifting petrol from Dangote Refinery. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju on Olabisi Diji Olutile. Journalist Hangout starts right now. Now let's begin the conversation. The controversy surrounding the face-off between the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, and the immediate past governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, is getting messier and nastier. On Wednesday, another controversy trailed the saga after reports that Bello visited the EFCC headquarters to honor the invitation, which the anti-graft agency denied. Bello's media team claims that he honored the invitation, displaying the pictorial evidence of his visit, while the EFCC denies it, stating that Bello remains wanted for alleged 80.2 billion naira money laundering charges. After the back-and-forth argument, another report surfaced that the EFCC stormed the Kogi State Government Lodge in Abuja in a bid to arrest the former governor. Okay, let's bring the conversation in-house. And BKO, Yahaya Bello's team, they said he just went there to clear his name. And later on, and the EFCC gave a rebuttal saying that, hey, he's not in our custody. But looking at the back and forth, and they're still saying that he's still wanted, even though there were some videos that surfaced. Can you explain the confusing situation? Because it's confusing, really.
This is a very shameful drama piece. Honestly, I'm ashamed that this whole thing is happening. I'm ashamed as a Nigerian. I'm even more ashamed as a Kogi citizen that this is happening. The EFCC announced to the world sometime in April that they had made repeated entreaties to Yahaya Bello to honor their invitation to come and answer some questions. But that Yahaya Bello had repeatedly refused to honor that invitation. You will recall that the EFCC said a lot of things about Peter Ayodele Fayose. They even notified the immigration, the Interpol, the people manning our waterways that they would not want him to escape. They must be brought to justice, you know. Fayose walked to the FCC headquarters by himself, accompanied by the current FCC minister. Okay. He showed, because they gave the impression that he was going to run away and all that, but he gave himself up to them. Here I am. Do whatever you want to do with me. He even had a T-shirt, a commemorative T-shirt.
Yeah, like EFCC. I remember.
what happened? That case is still on. In fact, they were already getting close to judgment when the EFCC lawyer demanded that the judge should be changed. At least 13 witnesses had already been presented, as I had. The case was getting to its end. Then the judge was changed because there was altercation between the judge and EFCC's lawyer where the judge said, look, I'm not your mate. Yes, I senior you in age and even in our profession. In the end, that case had to be started all over again. That is a case of justice willfully delayed.
Okay.
In this case, you see, the EFCC didn't deny that Yahaya Bello came to their place.
Yeah, in the statement.
They only denied that he was in their custody. Look, it's not immodesty if we say that after all these years as journalists, that some of us have an eye for the spoken word. You said it's not in your custody. You never said it didn't come to
your headquarters,
your facility. It's not in a detention facility. It's not the same thing as saying he didn't show up. Of course he showed up. There are short videos. There are still pictures. Look at. You cannot say that he didn't. The governor brought him to the place. You know why Fawashe decided to go there?
Okay.
All avenues, he had exhausted all avenues available to him. The case that he filed against the EFCC, asking to not be picked up or his rights infringed. The EFCC finally vacated that case. They got the order vacated, which was what I had always demanded. I said, look, a person, no matter from where he got the order, you must, if you find that order obnoxious, you must first vacate that order. You cannot attempt to arrest a man who has an order of the court of restraining you. You understand? So they finally done that. Yahaya Bello is due to appear in court on the 25th of September. So he then felt, okay, all along I had been avoiding surrendering myself because I got an order restraining the EFCC from harassing me. He went there on his own for 4 hours. They were in the EFCC office. And they were told the chairman was busy, he will come back to you and all that. Later on, the chief of staff, the EFCC chairman, went to them and said, you can go. When you are needed, we'll get in touch with you. Where are you going? They told him where they were headed. And it was the Kogi Governor's Lodge. Governor Ododo's plan was to physically bring him the second time to the EFCC. So there are two things playing out here.
Okay.
Former governor. The former governor, Yahaya Bello, wants it to be on record that he surrendered
himself. Okay.
You understand? So that Nigerians who have been accusing him of running from justice, he can then tell them, look, all of that time, I had a court order that restrained them from arresting me, but now I've exhausted all of those legal avenues and I have come on my own. He does not want to be arrested. he wants it to be on record that on his own he went there.
Yes.
The EFCC's desire is to arrest him in any way that they can.
Embarrass him.
So that they believe that that is what will make Nigerians happy. There is a danger in always trying to please the majority. Because, and I see journalists do that today. A lot of journalists, they come on TV, they lack the confidence and the will to speak their minds, to speak the truth. Once that truth will hurt the majority of our people are not interested in saying it. This is what I see. But the job of the journalist is not to please the public.
Is to say the truth.
Is to say the truth. It's not about, how will the people feel?
Sentiments.
If I say this, how would they feel? It may be the truth, but may not be what will make some people happy.
Okay.
Today in our country, if you say something, maybe this government does something good, no matter how little. If you say it, the anger of the Nigerian people will be visited on you, especially on social media. They want you to say this is a good-for-nothing government that has no redeeming value, that cannot do anything good. This is what, if you say that, you will see a lot of comments and likes. But attempt to say, this government, no matter how useless we think they are, but this idea of the student loan is good, though. They will come for you. Now, many people don't want to be attacked.
But rather...
The EFCC does not want Yahaya Bello to gain some form of moral victory on this matter.
Okay.
By working, Fauci gained that moral victory, whichever way people look at it, because they said he was going to run. They said they've told people to guide all the nooks and crannies of our country. But he went there. Said, see, look at me. I dare you, arrest me. They don't want Yahaya Bello to have that kind of moral victory, no matter how little. So what will please them is to get hold of him and then put him in handcuffs. Nigerians will see the picture. Nigerians will now be hailing them. How can somebody come? You've been looking for someone. This is the bit that I find embarrassing. You've been looking for someone. You announced that he was wanted and that whoever has information should provide it. And then that man goes to your office and you left him there for 4 hours. You didn't pick him up. If I was the EFCC chairman, immediately he got there, whatever I was doing, I will abandon it.
And looking at what the EFCC
somebody that I've been looking for, I've been telling people that he stole 80 billion. A man who stole 80 billion, does he deserve to move around free? In these difficult times in our country? See, that's another case of dropping the ball. He came to your office, he doesn't have immunity. It is Ododo who brought him there that has immunity. We will invite him, bring him inside the office, have him interrogated the same way we had Fauci interrogated. If we like, we'll keep him there, get an order of the court for him to remain until the day that the court is to sit.
Okay.
But their own goal is simply, let's arrest him. Let's put handcuffs in his hand. And by the time they tried to do that at the lodge, the governor first resisted. That, no, you cannot embarrass this man. Somebody who came to your place, Okay. So, in the end, they sent for reinforcement. Before reinforcement came, Yahaya Bello left the place. So they couldn't arrest him.
Okay. All right.
So any man who walked up to a place, no matter, you may hate him. It's not people decide to hate who they want. But if he went to a place where they accused him of refusing to come, after they declared him wanted, he went there on his own
and waited
for 4 hours.
And yet
you didn't interrogate him. You allowed him to go back.
It says so.
And then try to arrest him. And you are now telling people that, oh, it's not in our facility. That is not the issue. Was he? It's not in our detention facility.
All right.
Was he in your office? I mean, you don't just mislead Nigerians in this way. The question is not whether he is inside your cell or not. The question is, was he at your office? And when he came to your office, what did you do? What did you do?
All right, let me come to you. This is the whole confusion, okay? And the EFCC, they surrounded the Kogi State Governor's Lodge, forcibly to arrest him. Is that the way to arrest people? What are your thoughts on this matter?
Yeah, actually, first of all, I'm curious to know why the EFCC decided to ask the former governor to leave its facility, and telling him that, because I had a conversation with the media aides to the governor to actually know what was going on when the EFCC released its own statement that the man was not in their custody. Of course, I understood the fact that being in one's custody and presenting oneself are two different things. Okay. So I learned that they actually told him to wait, and after some time, they said he should go, that he should just go. And they didn't tell him any other thing, that when they are ready, they will invite him or something like that. I agree perfectly with everything that BK said about this matter. But the problem for me is the intent of EFCC as an anti-graft body. Because when you undo issues like this, you put a lot of doubt in the minds of people as per your intent, capability, and the reasons why you go after people. And in a country that is bedeviled with a high level of corruption, you make people to doubt if your agency is actually capable of, putting people that are said to be corrupt to question or making them to pay, executing, prosecuting cases of corruption. Because this kind of thing is like a case that you are boggling by yourself. We don't know what you really want. To now go there again to try to forcefully arrest him, I don't know what they are trying to achieve.
Now, so what I'm trying to say is that a legal way to enforce an arrest going in the thick of the night for someone who had initially submitted himself for
that can never be legal.
The thick of the night.
It can never be legal. And it's just like you just want to engage in a bit of a drama. That's the way I look at it. Yes, because if it is not, if you are not being dramatic, why should you even do that on the day that this person, and it's known to the world that he actually appeared in your office, there are pictorial evidences here and there to show that he was there. And it's not a thing that the EFCC could deny. I'm sure that if it were possible for EFCC to deny completely that it wasn't within their premises, they would have done so. But that is not what we expect. That is not the expectation of the majority of Nigerians from an anti-graft body like EFCC. That's my point, because the way they are behaving now, how do we even trust them with other cases of corruption in the country? How do we know your intent? How can we really say for sure that you don't have ulterior motives and that you don't deal with situations based on some malicious intent? Because they can't clean themselves in this particular case. And I'm thinking that EFCC needs to offer some explanations to Nigerians in this matter. They should let us know, why did you refuse to allow him, attend to him? If you wanted to arrest him, why didn't you do so? Why did you need to go to the governor's house in the thick of the night to attempt to arrest him forcefully? With gunshots everywhere. We also had that evidence. We had the video clips and all of that. So I think they need to do some explanations, because that is the only way that some of us could also see, maybe see into their sincerity and believe that they are actually in this thing for the good of Nigerians.
It wouldn't be a bad idea to have a conversation with the media officer of EFCC to know the true state of things. But what should the EFCC do?
Yeah,
and also
talk to us about what he knew.
Now,
He told us it's not in our custody. We are not saying it was in your custody. I don't think any sensible newspaper reported that he was detained in their facility, except maybe a rumor monger masquerading as a journalist. The issue is, he walked to that place. He doesn't have immunity. All of the talk, people saying, he will have resisted arrest. How? Within your facility, you take him into a room and you begun interrogation. The interrogation can last for as long as you want. So it's well somebody comes into your facility. It's like your facility, you are in a position of strength. I don't know who advises these people. Okay. How do you somebody we were looking for? People were telling me all kinds of stuff. When I was in Abuja, I said, do you know where Yahaya Bello is?
Oh dear.
I said, no. I don't know where he is. He doesn't call me when he wakes up in the morning. Okay. So how do I then know where? So people were saying all kinds of things. Some people even suggested that he was hiding somewhere in Kogi East. I said, that's the last place Yahaya Bello will want to go and hide. Some said he was not in Nigeria. We've had stories, all kinds of stories. And then that individual that many people felt was an Aladdin who disappeared and all that, walks into your premises. Come on.
All right, but the thing is...
I will tell His Excellency Ododo, thanks for bringing him. We've been looking for him for months.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing him. We are extremely grateful. And then we'll take him into one of our rooms.
All right.
And then we'll start the interrogation. A long interrogation, during which the governor himself will get fed up. He will then go to his house and he will be with us. Okay. I don't think that Yahaya Bello didn't want to be interrogated. And he knows by going to that place, we expect. Yes, okay, why do you want to talk to me? I'm here. I'm ready to answer the questions about how I ran the state. Okay. You said I stole 80 billion. This is my defense. You know, I'm sure he will be ready. And then somebody you told us stole all of that money. Okay. Walked straight into, unsolicited, he walked straight into your office. All right. And you allowed him to leave. You in fact, you are the one who told him to go.
All right, Biko, we'll continue with this conversation. We need to go on a break now. But when we're back, I'm going to be asking you, what should the EFCC do this time? And also, how much of a stain is this on the EFCC leadership concerning this matter? We'll go on this quick break. We'll be right back. And when we return, the conversation continues. It's still Journalist Hangout.
Program Alafia Eko is to ensure the health and well-being of Lagosians. Namely, what we do here is to screen Lagosians for silent killers such as hypertension, diabetes, and prevent these conditions from causing complications.
Ètò ọ̀fẹ́ tí ìjọba Sanwó-Olú tó gbé kalẹ̀ fún wa torí nǹkan tí òògùn sọ́ńtàǹsì ó ti wọ́n jù owó tá a fi ń rògùn ó ti wọ́n jù wọ́n dẹ̀ fún wa lóògùn yẹn lọ́pọ̀ yanturu wọ́n fún wa lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́. Wọ́n fún mi lóògùn, wọ́n fún mi ní gíláàsì gbogbo ẹ̀ tí mo ló wà òkè tó ìdí Èkó ò ní bàjẹ́. The kind of service I enjoy today is very excellent, and I think it's worth mentioning. That's to give kudos to the initiator.
Quality, why GSM cable. Great quality. Now.
All right, the conversation continues. If you just joined us, it's still journalist Hangout. I'm still hanging out with Olabisi Folutile and also BKO. BKO, before we went on that break, I was asking you, what should the EFCC do at this time? And also, how much of a stain is this on the EFCC chairman, EFCC leadership?
I don't know. The other day, he said some things I shouldn't have said on air. And I felt, well, we're still new on the job. Went as far as saying that he tried to get Yahaya Bello to come through the back door for his interrogation.
He did.
He said that everybody had him. Why should you extend that kind of favor to him? Why? Why take him through the back? Why? Did they extend a similar backdoor treatment to Bobrisky? Did they extend it to the former Minister of Aviation? I mean, so people will make mistakes in the course of their job. Okay. I make mistakes. If I realize quickly, immediately I come on here to admit it, that, yeah, I made a mistake. It happens. But after some months on the saddle and having been working in the EFCC for some time, you should know the kind of mistakes that I can make. People have asked me, why should Governor Ododo be playing the role that he's playing? And I can answer without reservation. The first time Governor Ododo helped Yahaya Bello to evade arrest, Yahaya Bello had a valid court order.
Is the EFCC aware of the court order?
They were aware.
Okay.
They were aware. They cannot claim not to be aware. They have lawyers. And we saw lawyers who also came to say, no, if somebody had a valid court order, vacate that court order before effect an arrest. You know? And they never physically served him an invitation because they knew that he had the court order. So they couldn't bring themselves. This time around, Yahaya Bello does not have a court order that he can bank on to say, yes, you can't arrest me, you can't harass me. Now, Governor Ododo, what Governor Ododo did yesterday, for which some ignorant people are saying, oh, he's supporting a criminal. In any case, you can't call someone a criminal until he's convicted.
That word has been flying all over social media. The role of the governor.
The governor played the same role that Nyesom Wike played
during the time of Fayose.
During the time of Fayose. Nyesom Wike was a sitting governor. Fayose had left office. Nyesom Wike took him to the EFCC. Those arguing that if the EFCC had tried to arrest Yahaya Bello, that Ododo security men will have resisted, is absolute rubbish. Why didn't Nyesom Wike's security men stop the arrest of Fayose after he gave himself up? He gave himself up, and Wike went back to his house. What I can advise at this time, if the EFCC still wants to interrogate this man ahead of his appearance in court, they should call the governor and say, yeah, mistakes were made yesterday, we are sorry. Can you bring him back? The governor can then take him back there. And once he hands him over,
he can go
he
back.
Goes back to his lodge. The governor was embarrassed yesterday, the shooting and all that in his lodge. It wasn't a tidy thing. We are not in a military regime. So what I want to see, I want closure put to this thing. It embarrasses me. But at the same time, I will speak the truth as it comes from the inner recesses of my heart. Whether the whole of Nigeria turns against me, it doesn't matter. As long as I'm convinced that what I'm saying is the truth. I'm at peace with my maker. What is wrong is wrong. Do the right thing. somebody can come to your office, somebody that you badly wanted to get your hand on. Come on. Then he came. I would throw a party because of the way he came. Because I will be so excited. This person that we've been looking for. Okay. All right. Take him there, begin your interrogation, and then we'll put perhaps they don't want closure to this matter. Okay. I just don't understand.
Politically, what should the EFCC be doing at this time? And also, how much of a stain is this on the EFCC leadership at this
Well, I think the EFCC knows what to do.
They know what to do.
They know what to do. They are deliberately not doing what they want, what they should do. Let me tell you, yesterday, even the former governor that is referring to, Fayose, we spoke when he got the story of Yahaya Bello. Yeah, he called me and asked what's going on. And I told him that it's there. The first question is, has he been detained? I said no, but didn't you read the story? He said, I didn't read. I just read your headline, and I know that you are the Olofofo of Nigeria, so you just broadcast whatever.
So
I said the guy is not detained, because to show you that the expectation at that point
was to detain
him for whatever. Yes, they were everybody was looking forward to it, that since this man is now in your custody, so you should detain, you should interrogate, you should do whatever you had wanted to do with him.
Okay.
And you can understand from his perspective, because he was there.
He was detained.
Anyway, yeah. So when I told him that, he said, okay, don't worry, I will call him or whatever. So many Nigerians expected the FCC to detain Yahaya Bello yesterday. And I also know that because the FCC had done similar things in the past, that is why I said they know what to do. If
they don't need to be told.
They don't need to be told.
They don't need this drama.
They don't need it. So if they should just stop the drama and do the right thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's move straight to our next story. Whereas preparations intensify for Saturday's governorship elections in Edo State, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) and security agencies are displaying a high level of readiness to ensure a seamless and credible process. INEC officials, alongside representatives of various political parties, have inspected sensitive electoral materials for the election at the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) office in Benin City. Now, the election materials are expected to reach all the 18 local government areas, where they will be transported to the polling units on the 21st of September. Meanwhile, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has warned those with the intention of disrupting the election to leave the state or face consequences for their actions. Now, BKO, let's talk about INEC's preparedness for the September 21 Edo State governorship elections. In your opinion, how ready is INEC?
Well, I'm far away from the scene, but INEC, when it comes to off-season elections, INEC always prepares better. The logistical hiccups that we experience during the general election, we usually don't get it in the
off-cycle election.
Yes, even if we get it, it's usually minimal.
Okay.
Because they mobilize their troops from even the nearby states, and everybody will jump in to make sure that the election is a success. So I want to believe that INEC is prepared, and from even the stories that we are reading, that the party officials are already inspecting the ballot materials. It shows that everyone is ready. But on election day, sometimes these materials don't get delivered in good time. INEC relies on commercial
NERTW.
Yes, commercial bus driver association, to help them deliver materials across the length and breadth of a state. Sometimes they have issues, they have disagreements which affect deployment. So I just hope that it won't happen this time. And the good thing, Edo is not a particularly big state. There are some states in which you could be traveling for 7-8 hours to get to the state capital. There are some states like that. So I want to believe that we won't face the kind of problems that we usually face in the national and the general election. So what we hope to see is for electoral officers to get to their polling stations in good time, so that they can start the process and end the process in good time. During the national election, there were some elections that dragged into the nights up to 10 p.m. some cases. Look at Adamawa, and the election, there was a place in Adamawa that didn't even have lights. Yet the polling lasted into the night. So I don't expect that to happen in Edo. It's not a particularly big state by landmass. You look at a state like Cross River, you could be traveling for more than 6 hours from one part of Cross River to the state capital. You look at a state like Taraba State, which is the third largest state in Nigeria, you could be traveling for 8 hours to get to the state capital. Yes. You could be traveling for 8 hours. There are some parts of Mambila, Sardauna local government, that you would travel for 8 hours to get to the state capital. So these are some journeys that I've made in the past. So even Kaduna, you could do 6-7 hours from one part of Kaduna to another. You know, southern Kaduna to the state capital, some communities.
It's really fun.
Yes.
Okay.
Bad roads also contribute and all that. So,
okay. All right. You see, the Chief of Defense Staff was in Edo State, been into Edo State to order the troops to ensure that there's neutrality, these troops maintain professionalism. In short, he was sending a strong signal. How assuring is this?
Well, I think it will depend on the political gladiators in Edo State, because proud to now we've seen a lot of things about, you know, mini violence here and there, attacks, verbal, and all kinds. Arrests have been made. There have been accusation and counter-accusation. The political atmosphere has been a bit tense. Yeah, with the governor even coming on here to complain about the fact that the party is not feeling safe. Remember that the governor, the PDP refused to sign the peace accord. And so I think we need to talk to the gladiators, the parties, the political parties. When we talk about political parties, I mean majorly the APC and the PDP, because I think for the Labour Party, I think they are just doing their thing. But the rivalry, the stiff and strong competition is between the APC and the PDP, who are struggling for the soul of the state, which is understandable. If you look at the history of the state and the governance and the fact that even the governor that is there now used to be an APC member, and the fact that he was actually defected to the PDP at a point, and the fact that is also the person that is also controlling the apparatus of politics in that place used to be the godfather to the governor.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's a bit complicated. But I think the fear for me is the fact that many people may be afraid to go out to vote, which we should guide against. Yes, because if people think they are not going to be safe, if they go out there to cast their votes, they may withdraw from going out, and we don't need that right now, because I think from INEC's data, many people actually collected their PVCs in that state. Somebody was even saying about 90% or over 90% of voters' card collected.
And that's a signal that people
which
want
shows
to vote.
that people really want to vote. So preventing them from casting that vote will be a big problem. So I like the assurance from the CDS, and I also think that they should just walk the talk and ensure neutrality, and also ensure that whoever is out there to mar the process should be dealt with. You know. Yeah, because we cannot continue like this and just think that people can use violence to either get to power or retain power, which we need to really move forward and allow the votes of the people to count. Then in terms of transportation, something just occurred to me when we talk about delivery of items and the rest.
Logistics?
Yes, logistics. Now, I hope INEC has sorted this aspect out with transporters. The issue of increase in transportation fares resulting from rise in petroleum price, because I want to believe that some of these arrangements were probably made before the hike, the latest hike. I think if INEC has not done that, they should, because sometimes we come to hear on election day that transporters are complaining that they cannot transport based on old arrangements.
Covered that.
So
dotted their
at least they can hear us now, and there is an area that some of them have actually pointed out. I'm not speaking in isolation. I heard some of these complaints from their ends, but I mean, once they knew it's something that is a possibility, then they should have sorted it out, because it's not going to be an excuse. They had this long time to actually plan this.
All right, BK, let's talk security in the election. 35,000 police officers. We also heard that about other security agencies, 8,000.
Civil defense.
Yes. The CDS also went there. But how assuring is this that with all of these security agents, in Edo State, how assuring is this that that vote will go, smoothly and people can actually come out and be secured?
If you look at the pattern of elections, especially in the Southwest, I don't think our elections, our most recent elections, have seen disruptions to the point that it will affect the overall conduct of the election. And it was in Edo State that beavers was actually first used. It was very successful, and results were pasted at polling centers in line with INEC regulations. So I'm looking forward to peaceful conduct of the election, as long as the security operatives don't compromise. Politicians are always the problem. They are the ones who nudge the armed forces to try and compromise, look away when evil is being perpetrated on election day. I know that ballot snatching has gone down. The specter of ballot box snatching has gone down drastically since we began to use card reader and then beavers. People have seen that it's a waste of time. So I do not envisage that these things will happen. But I also know, so what I'm saying is, I'm saying it with some level of caution, because I also know that politicians deliberately disrupt polling in areas where they are not strong. Because they know that the rule says where voting is characterized by violence,
it will be
no result shall be returned from such polling centers. So I have demanded that they should do something about that.
Review that
clause, because politicians who want to weaken their opponents deliberately set fire. Apologies to Eastern Weakener. Deliberately set fire in the areas where their opponents are strong. I saw a lot of in the last election, especially in the Northwest. So they go and cause a fight. At the end of the day, no result shall be returned, and they will secure their own area. So they've gained an advantage by doing that. So it's a good thing to say, okay, you cannot use unlawful means, to gain control, to gain some ascendancy during an election. But you should also look at the fact that it can work both ways. It can work both ways, and politicians are using it already. So I hope that these 35,000 policemen, we will really see them at work. Yes, they are not supposed to be too close to polling centers, but at least they can keep their distance and be ready to ward off evil people bent on compromising the electoral process. And of course, soldiers too will be on ground. The Air Force will be on ground. In fact, the Air Force is going to be involved in even airlifting ballot materials and all that. And civil defense, they're always very much involved in this. What we don't know is the role that the vigilantes that the governor instituted,
what role would they play?
The APC is scared that those guys could be used to foment trouble, used to rig the
Chief of Defense Staff talked about it yesterday, that if vigilante holding weapon, let them be arrested.
So that's the right thing to do. But they too, the PDP too, is saying that they know that the ruling party will use troops to rig the election. So, yes, but I like the statement that Governor Obaseki made a few days back, where he was expressing confidence in INEC. They were sure that INEC are prepared well for this election. They're happy with INEC's preparation. He also praised the IG, the same IG that they had been flogging for weeks. He also praised the IG. So I just hope that this election bodes well, because we have reached that point in our country where we should be able to organize elections that we can hold high, as proud citizens. We can't continue to have elections that politicians manipulate the way they like.
Okay,
I hope that this will be an exception.
You talked about Governor Obaseki, but the issue about the peace accord, not signing peace accord, how concerning is this? And also, what role does this peace accord play in our elections in making sure that we have good
I've seen where they went to sign peace accord and they started beating each other right there.
Right outside, okay, I think.
Yes. It happened in Kogi. Peace accord, the fight started from where peace accord was being signed. See, it's just a ceremonial thing.
Should it be backed by law?
See, you can sign a peace accord and still go against the content that you signed.
But when it's backed by law, what happens then? Once it's backed by that, once you go against it,
we have enough laws to deal with election riggers, ballot riggers. We have enough laws. That's why some people are saying, okay, how do we try them and dispense justice quickly? Some are asking for electoral offences tribunal.
Yeah, INEC has talked about
so, yes, because the offenders are too many, and INEC cannot
have a lot on their plate.
Cannot pay all of the lawyers that you need to prosecute those cases. Some lawyers have volunteered to even do those cases for free for INEC.
Pro bono.
Because it's a big, it's such a big burden. Hundreds of electoral offenders, and INEC must pay the lawyers. The logistics and all that, everything is there. So, and it's across the country. They can arrest more than 100 in Lagos alone. And they all deserve to be represented by lawyers. So I think that we should do our best to make examples of those who flout our electoral laws. We are not doing that enough. And there is an extent to which I can blame INEC. INEC is overwhelmed in terms of the prosecution of electoral offenders.
Okay. The PDP not signing the peace accord. How concerning is this? Will it affect, what are your thoughts on it, and also the role that peace accord plays?
Well, even when they signed in the past, it didn't really do much. So I'm not, yes, of course, it will have been good for PDP to sign, but also there are other parties that didn't sign, even in the last general elections, and nothing happened. For example, I doubt if President Bola Tinubu signed that.
They said he signed it.
He did.
Okay.
So I think Vice President Shatima signed the first one, then he did the second.
Signed. They told, I think they corrected.
Yeah, they did. The president.
Okay. So I think I think what we need goes beyond that peace accord, because even if things work well, and if we abide by the rule of law, why should we need another accord? And why should politicians or political parties need to sign a peace accord in the first instance?
Okay.
I think they do that because generally people don't go by the rules, and because they want to also avoid or prevent violence, they just want things to work. But for me, what I'm eager to see in this Edo election is the role of vote buying.
Vote buying.
Yes, I want to know.
That's another one. I think this is where EFCC.
Yes,
they will in fact set a record at this.
Yes. So because
each of them will pay collect 20,000.
20,000. So those are the things that we need to actually correct.
EFCC
because
do something about that.
Because it's like each party has voted billions
of money for it
to buy votes, and if we continue to allow this, how do we get the will of the people during elections?
Legally, who should be arrested? The person giving the money or the person collected the money, or both of them?
Both of them should be arrested.
Both of them. Bika, do you agree with that?
Yes.
The person giving and the person collecting?
Yes, it's like bribe now.
Oh, okay.
Taking a bribe. You committed an offense. The giver is also guilty.
The giver is also guilty. All right, thank you so much, gentleman, gentlewoman.
Gentlemen, come on.
Gentlemen of the press.
Gentlemen of the press. If
you said that to a female judge, you are going to jail.
I plead the fifth. Thank you so much. Well, Labisi Italy, thank you so much for having this conversation. BK, the veteran.
Thank you.
I missed you yesterday.
Yes.
But thank you so much for having this conversation. And that's it on Journalist Hangout today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast of the episode tonight at 11 and join us on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We are on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Benga Oreshegun. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.